While Silicon Valley focuses on the next step of technology, in Latin America, some companies work hard to incorporate tech to better serve their clients. That's why we met with Daniel Cuervo, who has experience developing logtech innovative companies. His latest endeavor is a sustainable courier company.
Daniel, tell us how Carryt first came about and the need that you saw and the problems that you wanted to solve with it.
Well, actually, Carryt is the result of two previous startups that failed. But I believe that in failure, we basically understood the dynamics and we had built the technology. So the first startup was a SaaS routing platform that we were trying to sell to independent transportation companies. What was happening there was that, well, when you look at the dynamics of transport in Latin America, the big companies, they're owned by very traditional transportation people. So scaling a company where people don't have the culture and don't have the processes within the company to start to really implement technology was very, very hard. But on the other hand, we were seeing that there was a lot of demand for efficient logistics. And this was part of my experience with my other startup. I had one of the 5 biggest wholesalers in Mexico. And what we did was that we bought products from big CPG companies like Procter, Unilever, JTI, and we resold it to what we call changarro in Mexico, which are the mom and pop little stores. And in that specific industry, we were visiting around 30,000 little stores every week. We had 500 people selling, 200 delivering. So when we combined those two things, we basically saw that the opportunity was being able to provide very cost-efficient logistics with great service levels to all the network of either CPG companies or the wholesalers that serve those industries. And when we saw that, we understood that there was an amazing opportunity for business, but there was also an amazing opportunity for impact. Why? Because when you connect these two worlds, which are basically the owners of the CPG, of the little whole mom and pop stores, with the independent resellers, you're basically tackling the two major sources of informal jobs in Latin America. And those, the little mom and pop stores and the independent drivers, are the ones that we're tackling. And through Carryt, we're solving their problems. We're getting them cost-efficient products, we're getting them work, we're giving them the opportunity to have new lines of credit to the mom and pop stores, and that's why we do what we do.
Is this where last mile delivery service comes in? Because in that last mile, you're providing this technology, playing a role in transportation, doing it in a sustainable way, but you're making the connection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we make the connection through the delivery of goods. Okay? So we basically, how we do it is, we have created 4 stacks of technology that allows us to, the first thing, optimize logistics. So reduce the cost of the product by having very good logistic processes. The second is how we manage the entire relationship with the independent driver, from how we engage them into how we pay them and how we control that they're executing correctly and they're delivering a 99% on-time delivery service. The third one is once you already have a very good operational process automated through technology, then how do you expand that outside the boundaries of the big cities? And that is why we're transforming the houses of our same reseller network into what we call cross-dock points. So we leave between 35 to 50 packages a day in their houses, and they're the ones doing the last yard. And the last piece of technology that we have is that when we do the collection, we are basically not only delivering the product, but we're also receiving the money of the product. And when we started scaling, we right now handle around $500,000 every day on cash. And well, it's a risk, but it's also an opportunity to be able to change the things. So understanding the historical purchases of a little mom and pop store or an independent reseller, we're able to know and understand and provide information to micro lenders that at the same time will use that to provide micro loans to the same people. So at the end, we believe that we're not only delivering goods, we are improving the lives of the drivers and of the mom and pop stores.
You said a couple of things that I want you to explain a little bit for us. You said, Latin America is different. There's a cultural aspect. What is it that's different that makes it work for Latin America?
So, well, in the US, you're buying your food and your, I don't know, cosmetics, you're buying them out of either Walmart's or Amazon's. In Latin America, the big CPG companies, they're making 70% of their sales through the mom and pop stores or through the independent reseller channel. And it's an industry that moves $12 billion every year. And right now what's happening is that if you think about it, the logistic complexity of trying to visit every week over 2.5 million points is an amazing one. So the brands, their focus is on commercial selling. Like the operations is something that they know is part of their value chain, but dealing with it is so hard that they prepared to leave it to third parties. And we have become that third party that is doing a great job in reducing the cost and improving the service levels.
You mentioned that Carryt is in Colombia, Mexico, and now in Brazil. All three, some numbers here, all three account for 65% of Latin America's total GDP and the biggest share of logistics and distribution costs for consumer packaged goods industry. You're also trying to fight climate change with over 1,000 drivers. Do you think your model will catch on in other parts of the region? Do you think that your company is the model for that?
Well, I believe that what we're doing is that we're not only doing a great business, but we're doing a great impact. And we believe in the power of impact. The power of impact in really changing the way things are done in our regions. So if you tell me where else can I grow, the same thing that's happening in Latam, you're seeing it in the MENA region, in Egypt, in Jordania, in Saudi Arabia, and you're also seeing the same type of dynamics in Southeast Asia. So not in the near future, but in future years, I would love to be able to say, hey, we've done a great business, we've done a great job, and now we're also solving the problems not only in Latin America, but in these two other great parts of the world.
You're still a very young company. Have you been able to measure the kind of impact you've had?
Well, we are, yes, like right now, we are improving the lives of over 1,000 drivers. That's one of the things. And that by itself is a great impact. But when you see the things that we're doing for the independent reseller, it's much more meaningful and much more powerful. Because at the end, when you think that there's 2.5 million mom and pop stores, people say that in Mexico, 6 out of 10 people live out of the changarro, of the mom and pop stores. So when you analyze the amount of population that lives on this informality and that you're able to give them credit, to give them services, for instance, we give health services to the drivers, give them a possibility to have an insurance, give them a possibility to have a bank account. When you think about all those things, then we know that what we're doing can change the way and these informal jobs that are being created in Latin America.
How do you envision the future of transportation in the region? I know that's a big question. And what are some of the biggest challenges that are still ahead in their approach that you're trying to make with what you do and doing it in a sustainable way?
I believe that the future has to be a combination of manpowered logistics through the use of autonomous vehicles, drones, other types of features. But I believe that it's going to be always a combination. None of the two worlds can basically live just by itself. So when you think that many of the people that today are part of our workers are basically will be replaced by robots or drones or anything like that, then you start worrying on what's going to happen with those people. And what we're doing right now is we're not only giving them health services, but we're also giving them the capacity to have other skills through training that allow them to, if tomorrow there's no more packages to deliver, what is it gonna do? But they can become, I don't know, maybe guys that work in the warehouse, or they can become people that know a little bit of accounting, of inventory. So all those things are things that we're working on and that we're envisioning in the future, and that we believe that is also part of the sustainability strategy that we have.
Daniel, it seems right now that with all this new technology we keep hearing about in the world, AI, Web3, Meta, on one hand, there's a lot of fear around it, the fear of unknown, but there's also excitement. What comes to your mind when you see and hear about all these new technologies and hopefully using it in a way that benefits everyone?
I think that you have to be very open-minded to understand what's happening. You have to be very knowledgeable and try to always train yourself in understanding how those new technologies can improve your same technology right now. And I believe that whether you like it or not, it's going to happen. So you better be prepared and try to integrate all those new features into your product so that you can provide a better client service and a better experience to the drivers. But yeah, it's going to happen, so better be prepared for that.
Daniel Cuervo, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.